What are you saying, bro? You ready for another lesson?
Man, I can't wait, man. It's been a while, so...
That's a screw.
Make a difference already, you know?
Hey, right rudder, that's it.
Wheel 01, you can backtrack now.
Need to be over the field in between the two.
Alright.
What do you know about increasing the angle of bank?
Full speed.
Exactly.
You're fine, you're on the centre line, and then suddenly you're not, bro.
Next time you're in a grass, bro.
That landing. Whew. I'm worn out.
Are you aiming to be a commercial pilot?
Yes, at some
Right.
point.
Yes, so these calls, they have to be made in a commercial environment. Well done, mate. You're gonna make a good commercial pilot.
Thank you.
I'll walk up behind the aircraft.
You're very behind the aircraft. We've got a fuel leak. Have we? Yeah.
By the way, go to the whiskey, sorry. The whiskey is quite strong. Mate, you're gonna make a good commercial pilot.
You still have control.
No, you tell me when you want to take control. You tell me when you want to take control.
Ever? Do I have to?
Yes. Because I say so. Bear in mind, you're going to have to work with what you've got, normally. What do you need?
That's what I'll make use of what I've got.
Previously on Future Pilot 901.
Okay, how you feeling?
Feeling good?
Good. You're gonna go solo.
Okay. Student Will 08 is ready for departure. We are off.
Student Wheel 08, surface wind is 330 at 9 knots, we've got one to vacate.
Student Will 08.
Charlie Kilo is right base, get out to land. Student Wheel 08, minute takes and well done.
This aircraft is so nice to flow with.
Yeah, very nice.
Golf, Kid 20 Southing Victoria airspace now in the climb chart sheet 3,000 feet, heading 090 degrees.
Yes, 3,000 feet is very nice and smooth.
Yeah.
It's not like in the cloud.
Golf, proceeding on location, Sierra November. This comes the procedure report on boat flight established.
The whole point of getting your IMC is you fly clouds. That's sort of where we are roughly. See?
Okay.
So we came in for an approach on runway 23. We did a missed approach, and now we're being vectored around to do another approach into runway 23.
Ever since I was a kid, I had a dream of becoming a pilot, but could never afford it. One day I decided to stop making excuses, to sacrifice my comfort, to make my dream happen. My name is D, and this is my journey. This is Future Pilot 901.
Yes. What's up, people? Welcome back to Future Pilot 901 Live every Monday, 7 p.m. UTC. I'm your future captain. My name is D, and this is episode number 29. Now, some of you smarty pants out there might have noticed this is not Monday. Yes, it's not. It's not. This week, it's all changing up because it's a new year, and I thought,
let me add a little bit of spice to that.
Yeah, I thought let me add a little bit of spice to that. So this week I'm having some guests on. If you haven't been following, on Monday I was joined by Pri, a flight instructor, and Veronica, an aspiring pilot, both of them multiple time scholarship winners. So for those who are applying for scholarships, make sure you go and watch that. It's on the YouTube channel. It's on the Kick channel. They were dropping some gems, things that will support you on your journey. And then yesterday, I met up with the old gang, Tyrone Isaac Stewart, whose music I've been banging out in lots of different episodes. So I got to speak to Tyrone, find out a bit more about his music, and also Mo, the Steady Athlete. Some of you would have been following the Day One Mentality podcast last year, and you'd know Mo very well. And yesterday we were talking about getting healthy routines, healthy morning routines, and also smashing those goals. I wonder what you guys have as your New Year's resolution. By the way, if this is the first time you're joining in this year, Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year. And so I very much wanted to, start us off with a bang this year. Start us off with a bang. Bring some guests on, because usually I do this solo dolo. But yeah, I lined up the most interesting guests I could find for your viewing pleasure. So it's a conversation. Make sure you send your questions in the chat if you want your questions answered, all right? So then, what stood out to me? I wonder what stood out for you guys if you have been following. A couple of things stood out yesterday in the conversation with Ty and Mo. And I've been trying it out today. Ty was talking about, because he's a jazz musician, he was talking about how for him, you could be, skilled in your own way, but when you get with a band, it's about playing together in harmony, and how you carry yourself on your own is different when you're in a band, and it's about what you guys can bring together. And when you come together, you can create a sound that none of you could have created on your own. And that related to me, for me, it related to aviation and teamwork. That when you come together as a team, it's kind of like making music together. And together you can make a sound that is different to a sound that you'd have made individually. And I've been practicing that. I've been practicing that imagery, which for me I've found makes me really relaxed in group settings, where before I might be kind of a little bit in my own head. And now when I think about it from a musical perspective, I'm a lot more chilled. Like when I imagine or see somebody speaking, I imagine they're making music, and that's like a solo section. And then, I'm going to come in and I'm going to add my bit of music, and we're going to play a nice, beautiful symphony together. So that's how I started to visualize teamwork. And I think for me, that is that is a game changer. So shout out to Tyrone. That is a game changer. That is a game changer. And if you didn't watch that yesterday, Mo had a lot to say about the idea of New Year's resolutions. He came with that smoke. So I'm not going to say any more. I'll just say go back and watch yesterday's episode if you want to catch the flavor that Mo and Tyrone brought. Now, today's guest. I'm going to introduce today's guest. I'm looking forward to a great conversation. Remember, drop your questions in the chat. Oh, wait. Thomas says, I've been watching your videos. I didn't know you were live. Oh, listen, I am live. I'm live. I've been live on Monday, Tuesday. I'm live today. I'm going to be live tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to have an engineer, flight instructor, newly qualified pilot. Listen, and it's going to be insane. So bring your questions, bring your questions in the chat, and you will have them answered. But for today, I've got a guest lined up for you. It's going to be a very interesting conversation, and I'm looking forward to it. So without further ado, check this out.
Being able to fly is an absolute privilege, and it means so much to me, and there isn't a second in the air that I ever take it for granted. The thing I've had to trust the most is the timing, actually, and knowing that every rejection and redirection is what's led me to where I am now.
Alpha, and time 155.
All position after departure, clear to leave the zone. Fire hangers free head VFR, on about altitude 2000. Runway 26 left turn out, surface wind 250 degrees, 4 knots, clear for takeoff. Wing 6 to the left turn out, clear for takeoff.
Aviation has always been a constant in my life, and for me it was just about figuring out how to unlock the career path to becoming a pilot.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, today I am being joined by Lily. Wait. The crowd is going crazy. Oh, wow. Thank you very much. First time ever on the Future Pilot 901 channel. Thank you very much for joining me, Lily.
No, it's fine. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to catch up and to talk, and probably talk too much and then waffle. So you're going to have to steady me along probably a bit. But yeah, super happy to be here. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. I'm looking forward to finding out a bit more about you as well. So tell us, before we get into what you do now, just tell us a bit more about that video. You had no clue I was going to play that, right?
No. No, I didn't know. It's a pretty good intro, though, to be fair. So the video, that was actually quite a last minute project that I worked on, like literally last week, with a very, very talented videographer who's based in Bournemouth. You see his handle there at the end of the video for his Instagram, and he does some really, really cool videos of aircraft, crew, all kinds of different aviation shots. And yeah, he basically was looking to do some more footage around like GA pilots. And someone actually sent me his post on Instagram, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to message him and ask if he wants to use me at all. And yeah, he came back and was like, yeah, sure. When are you around? And I actually had seen that there was a slot the following day on the aircraft at like golden hour, and we've had really nice weather obviously over the last week. So I was like, yeah, let's do it tomorrow. So yeah.
Nice. It's amazing when things like that come together, and you like, it looks really good. Like I was a bit jealous watching that. I won't lie. I was like, I'm just gonna be honest. Yeah, I was watching that and I was like, wait, I could do that. I could do that. I could. I got a bit jealous. But no, it was really good. It was really, really good. It's really nice to watch it. And what flight did you do? Where did you fly to? Where is it filmed?
Oh, do you know what? The flight I did has now been named like with friends and like the guys in ops at Bliss where I fly. We call it the Lily Long Haul.
Lily Long Haul. Interesting. Yeah. You've had a flight named after you. You don't hear that every day. You do not hear that every day. That's that. Tell me about the Lily Long Haul.
Oh, do you know what? It's a bit of a joke that it's like a joke between us that we call it that, because I've done it quite a few times, because like during my hour building I've taken up like friends and family, or like, to be honest, even just like me when I want to like dust off the cobwebs and just like go out and really enjoy flying. I'll basically do a lap of like the Needles around Isle of Wight, because it's beautiful scenery around there, and then normally go over to Sandbanks in Poole, which is near where I live, and then do a nice transit along the coast, along the beach, and yeah, it's lovely, it's beautiful, and at sunset as well, it's absolutely stunning.
Lush. And so what have you been up to? What do you do on a daily basis? Where are you in your journey in aviation?
So I'm about halfway through my multi-engine instrument rating. Doing that at EFT at Lyon Solent, and I'm working full-time still at Draken, based at Bournemouth Airport. So my job there is I work in the CAMO, so the Continuing Airworthiness Management Organisation, and my job is that I'm an airworthiness engineer. So to put it kind of like in simple terms,
please.
A lot of people ask me what CAMO is and like what my job is and stuff. So
I just thought camo meant camouflage. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's, to be fair, that's what I thought until I learned what the acronym was when I started working at Draken and stuff. But yeah, no, so my job is basically making sure that the aircraft that we have at Draken, they are legal to fly, that they're safe to fly, and that they're airworthy and compliant, basically. And we do a lot of like tasks within that as airworthiness engineers to make sure that that is the case. So we review data that comes from like EASA, the FAA, the CAA, the TCCA for Canada. We review a lot of safety publications that get released from them and make sure that our aircraft are not affected by any of those safety publications or airworthiness directives, making sure that like all the components on the aircraft are all safe and that they're all operating within their life limits, and making sure the aircraft have had the proper maintenance completed as well at the right maintenance intervals. So yeah, and we're a big team. There's loads of us. We've got a tech records team, a planning team, an airworthiness engineering team, an airworthiness review certificate team. So yeah, lots happening in camo at Draken, but that's kind of my small little bit that I do.
Can I just ask, how do you process all the information, especially for, aspiring pilots? I remember my own journey reading like requirements, PPL stuff, and which is not as complicated as what you do. I just remember having this volume of information. And even now, sometimes, because on a Monday, I usually go through like maybe some of the latest information from the CAA or all that kind of stuff, try to stay on top of all that information. And sometimes it can be quite a lot of information. How do you process that?
I think particularly when you're reviewing like documentation from the regulator, you just got to take your time and normally for me, to be honest with you, I do have to read some things quite a few times before I actually understand what it is they want us to do and whether it's applicable to us as well. Sometimes it's not always very black and white. So I have to read it quite a few times. And to be honest, I think it's so important in aviation, in my opinion. I never pretend to think that I know. Like I'm 100% certain. Yeah, if I'm not sure, I'm going to go and ask someone. I'm going to go and ask a manager, a colleague. I'm going to get a second opinion. I'm not going to try and refer back to something that I might have read or that I might have understood a few months or weeks before. I think it's good to, if you're not sure about something or you're not sure about the information in front of you, just go and ask for a second opinion. Would be my biggest piece of advice. But yeah, it can be a lot. I think just taking your time and reading it and making sure you have got to be quite meticulous with the details sometimes when you're especially reading stuff that's come from the regulator. You have got to really be in the nitty gritty to kind of understand what they're talking about. That's why, anyway.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely good advice. And the thing is, once you interact with the information, it just becomes part of your knowledge bag. It's like, yep, I know that I need to do revalidation every 2 years for my PPL because I've done it now. I know that I need to, well, they changed it now where you need to have 6 takeoff and landing within the last whatever. I see it's even drifted now. I would have to go to the website and read it. But once you interact with it, it then makes sense. But before you interact with it, it's just all information on a page that's like, what does it all mean? So I like your advice about going to people and just asking, because somebody out there has already interacted with it and they can just explain it to you in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And like particularly in airworthiness, I mean, our records and our assessments that we do, they go back like years and years and years. For the whole time that the aircraft have been operating, we've been doing airworthiness assessments. So again, this kind of review process from the regulator. So our aircraft, I think our oldest one was manufactured in, hold on, let me check, because I looked at this earlier. I was looking at it earlier today.
Whilst Lily's looking, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up if you are enjoying the conversation. Remember to drop your questions in the chat. Shout out to Thomas. I saw your question. You want to know a bit more about, you've applied to the HCAP and you would like to know a little bit more about that. What I would say is, one, check out the video from Monday. Because Veronica is a gliding scholar, I'm a PPL scholar, and Pri is a flight instructor scholar. So you get the whole range of air pilot scholarships from that one stream. So do check that out. If you have a more specific question, drop it in the chat and I'll be happy to answer it at some point today. Yeah. All right. So Lily, tell us.
So 1966 is our oldest jet at Draken. So our records and our assessments, they go back obviously quite a long time. So you can normally find something that's already been looked at, or someone's already made an assessment or made a judgment or done something through all of our records that we've got, which I think is quite cool, actually. I quite like it. And sometimes even looking back at, we've got all the aircraft build books as well in our records, in our records room and stuff like that. And you can go back and look at how the engineers did the original rigging of the flight controls and everything. And it's like a little piece of history. I love it.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure quite a bit to get the mind around, but once you've been there for a little while, I'm sure it becomes a little bit easier.
Yeah, I think like I don't want to say like I'm jack of all trades because I'm not, but I've done quite a few different roles now in the business. I've been there 7 years, and I started on a rotational graduate program. And I started in HR actually, in talent and organizational design, just like how organizations are structured and the headcount and everything like that. So I kind of started there, and then I started knowing that I wanted to work in flight ops. That was like my whole kind of that when I did my assessment and when we did our assessment day, you know, it's like a group of like 25, 30 of you, and you talk about where you want to be in 5 years and stuff. And that was what I said. I said, I want to be in flight operations for what was then called, the company I work for now, what used to be called Cobham. So I said, I want to work in flight operations at Cobham Aviation Services at Bournemouth Airport. And that's, you know, I want to be a pilot and stuff. So I kind of had a vision for where I wanted to go already, but started in the HR space for my first rotation. Then I called up the VP of flight operations at Cobham at the time, but it's Draken now. And I just said, is there any chance you would need a graduate to help you with anything? I'd love to do a placement in flight ops and just learn more about the operation. And he said, yeah, I'm sure we can figure something out, and work to kind of create that. So then I moved over to flight operations as a graduate with them for another rotation. And then after that, I went into project management for a couple of years, and then went into camo airworthiness. So that's kind of the pathway that's become. So yeah.
Yeah, and later on, I want to talk a little bit more about creating opportunities, creating your own opportunities. But for now, let's turn the clock back. Where did your journey in aviation begin? How did it all start for you? What did that look like?
So I don't want to say rocky start, because that wouldn't be fair. I think just not very conventional, traditional, I guess. I don't really know, but long story boring, it started back in West London, which is where I'm from. So I grew up just under the final approach path for London Heathrow, and this is so funny to be honest, that like this is kind of how my love of aviation was born. But my mum used to go to the tip, and I would go with her sometimes. This is when I was really young, when I was like probably about 8 or 9, and she would go to the tip, and it was really, really close to Myrtle Avenue, the one that we used to go to. And she would sometimes afterwards take me to Myrtle Avenue to watch the aircraft come into land, and it was literally like the best hour of my life when we got to go and do that. So I was quite regularly begging her to go to the tip on the weekends. Or like finding things, oh yeah, that looks like it probably needs to go to the tip, mum. I think we're gonna have to go and do some plane spotting. So that's kind of how it all began, and I was just absolutely fascinated by aviation. I just saw it as yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's an amazing viewing spot, isn't it?
It's such a good spot. And yeah, it's not far from, it's probably about 15 minutes from my mum's house, so not far at all. And yeah, I used to love going there, and it was like the highlight of my weekend if we got to go and do that. And I think after that, I kind of had this real like passion and interest, but just didn't really have anywhere to channel it, because I didn't know anyone in aviation, especially at that age. Like, you know, I had no connections to the industry at all. I didn't have, you know, a parent or a sibling or a family friend. I didn't know anyone who was a pilot at that age. So I kind of just carried on with school and with my interest in aviation. And I think one of my teachers actually told me I needed to stop looking out the window in class all the time because I was just obsessed with watching planes. And I did kind of start to express an interest in becoming a pilot when I was in school. Was like quite quickly met with not very much support for that. So a lot of the concerns were, and this was kind of from teachers and people in school.
How long ago was this?
So how long ago was that? Probably going back like 15 years now. Quite a while ago. I'm showing my age now. Quite a while ago.
Don't worry. You're fine.
The maths might be wrong, but that brings me on to my next point. Is I'm not very strong at maths, and I wasn't very strong at maths in school, and that was a concern. I think, you know, I was not like I was bottom set in maths. I'm pretty sure. Like,
really,
yeah, I did struggle with it. I really did, and yeah, I think that was obviously a bit of a worry for, you know, teachers and stuff, and people that I was speaking to about, you know, I really wanted to fly, I wanted to become a pilot. Well, you know, you're going to need to be in top set for maths, and you're going to need to have triple science, and you're going to need to be doing all this maths and physics, and it was very overwhelming very quickly. And I kind of, obviously I believed that was true, because at the time I didn't have any other sounding boards to tell me that it wasn't necessarily true. So I kind of just ruled myself out at that point. There were a few comments as well about, you know, it's a very masculine job, and why would you be interested in doing something like that? You know, that's a man's job and stuff. And again, I don't like, you know, I didn't really know what to say to that at the time. But I didn't have a sounding board or anyone to say, well, no, don't listen to that. You should protect your interest and your love of flying and pursue it. So I sort of ruled myself out, I think, quite early, which is a shame. And then when I got to university, it was completely by chance, to be honest with you. At Freshers' Fair, you go around and you go up to all the societies and get some leaflets and talk to them a bit about, okay, what, you know, maybe I'll try badminton or tennis or kickboxing, all these kinds of different things. And someone came over to me in a flying suit at this Freshers' Fair and handed me a leaflet and said, do you want to learn how to fly for free? And I was like, where have you been all my life? Yes, I want to learn how to fly for free. Because the other aspect that was a big concern, particularly for my mum, to be honest with you, my mum's a single parent. She was not going to be in a position to support me financially through pilot training. And we went to a few, when I was a bit older, maybe this is towards the end of school now, like sixth form, we went to a few pilot career fairs and talks and stuff, and the costs that were being thrown around were incredibly overwhelming for someone from our background and from our home life. So that was another massive challenge. And so then when this guy came over to me at Freshers' Fair, I was kind of like, wow, this sounds great. Where do I sign up? I'll sign up right now. So and that was for the University Air Squadron. So I joined that in first year of uni. And that really changed everything for me, because I started learning how to fly with them. So I started the elementary flying training syllabus with them, and was kind of finally supported and told, you know, there is nothing stopping you if you wanted to pursue this as a career. Like you can do it. And I feel like that I just needed that one foot in the door, that one bit of confidence of someone to say, yeah, you know,
it's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And once I got that, I was like, yeah, maybe you're right. So I haven't really looked back ever since. I just thought, yeah, I'm going to do this because I love it. And that's why I'm so like, it's a bit of a roller coaster, a bit of a roundabout way of getting to my point, really. But that's why I think organisations like Honourable Company of Air Pilots, Air League, Elevate Her, BWPA, like they are instrumental for people, and the University Air Squadron instrumental for me, for example. But, you know, being able to provide people with the support, the sounding board, the resources, and the confidence that they can do it is, you know, people can achieve fantastic things when you take those limitations away from them. And I really do believe that. So
yeah, the outreach is so important because, you know, there are lots of myths around becoming a pilot, like you have to have perfect eyesight, for example, which isn't necessarily true in all settings. And you can definitely become a pilot wearing glasses. So yeah, things like that. Or, you know, when you do research, I remember when I was researching trying to become a pilot, like the first figure that comes up almost everywhere in your early search is 100K.
Yeah,
and you
or
go
120
or 120 or 120K. Yeah. And then you just go, yeah, maybe one day, maybe I'll just park that in the back of my mind, and just kind of be a bit more realistic. And then for me, it was discovering that, wait, you could pay as you go and get a PPL license. It's like, okay, how much does that cost? At the time, around about 160, 180 pounds an hour. It's like, okay, steep for me at that time, but doable, you know? So I think a lot of the time it's getting the right information from the right people. But if you don't have that connection, it's so hard to know. And I think for me, I've appreciated those connections, particularly being part of the Honorable Company of Air Pilots, having that connection to somebody who can just look at your situation and be like, oh, it's still possible. You got this pathway or this pathway available. And you can kind of then get started and explore it and see how far you can take it. But yeah, no, the outreach work is really important. And yeah, I whenever I hear from aspiring pilots, I'm always giving them the time of day, because I know what it's like to be out there isolated. Isolation is a dream killer.
Yeah, it's hard. And I do, you're absolutely right in what you say about, like, if you then take the initiative to think, oh yeah, well maybe I'm going to start researching this career path, and then the first sort of barrier you come across is that price tag, I think, for a lot of people. And then some of the things that you read online, or the things that you hear, and a lot of people have these misconceptions about the career and what kind of skills and qualities you need to become a pilot. And I think, yeah, these kind of interpretations and the things that you initially can read online can be enough for someone to go, well, I just don't fit in that. I don't fit in that box. So maybe it's not for me. And I think, yeah, unless you, well, I think for me, certainly anyway, unless you have got like a good support system in these organizations, or a place that has those resources available, or has people who are happy to, like you, for example, to give them the time of the day and the support and stuff, and talk to them, can be really instrumental for people who might just otherwise just rule themselves out early on, which is a massive shame.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, Instagram was a huge game changer. I know I was speaking to Veronica on Monday, and she said that LinkedIn was a game changer for her. For me, it was Instagram. It was going on Instagram, putting my story up, and kind of documenting my journey. And the amount of support and advice that I got was just incredible. Like something as little as when I first started PPL training, I was messing up my radio calls. I mean, I said QNH 102. Like now I know how ridiculous that sounds, right? But at the time I was like just all over the place. And I posted that video because I was like, do you know what? I'm going to make fun of myself. There's other people out there making mistakes, but I'm going to just use it, make fun of myself, but learn from it and document my progression. And somebody watched that and messaged me. They're like, yo, like, have you got your knee board? Are you writing it down? I was like, what's a knee board? They're like, a knee board. I'll send you an Amazon link. Sent me a link on Amazon, bought it. Next session, our flight, wrote things down, and I got it perfectly. And I was just like, do you know what? Like, that's really helpful. Just little nuggets that just help you along. So yeah, the support network around you is really important. And you know, yeah, it's a game changer. And another thing that was a game changer for me was getting the Air Pilots PPL scholarship. And in case you didn't know, they're now open for applications, and the deadline is tomorrow. So if you want to get your PPL application away, make sure you get it done before 12 noon tomorrow. And if you do, well, you could be in a position where you are doing this during the summer months.
Student Wheel 10, ready for departure.
3, 2, 1, first solo!
I just made it here on my own. First part of the qualifying cross country.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Did you like that segue?
It was cool, yeah.
Let's go.
I love it. I think it's great.
Do you know what? It's actually not an easy thing. Like, I watch people who do streams and podcasts and stuff like that, and sometimes I just hear the segue and I'm like, oh my goodness, that was so good. I didn't see it coming. I didn't
see that coming.
Yeah, great.
So
we're learning.
You're doing a really good job. It was seamless, actually, I would say.
Thank you. We're learning. Okay, then. So, your first 50 hours, what did they look like? So, you've started with at the time you started with the University Air Squadron.
Yeah.
How did that progress?
That was a lot of that, to be honest, was like having just great fun flying. The first couple flights with my instructor, we were just, because it was in the Grob Tutor, so you can do some really fun aerobatics in the Grob Tutor, I found out on those first couple flights. I just had a great time, and like this brand new universe that I thought just was never going to be like doable for someone like me was now literally just at my feet, and I was like, God, this is absolutely amazing. Spent a lot of time at the airfield during my time on the UAS. It was great fun. Really enjoyed it. The staff on the squadron were amazing, really supportive, and yeah, the flying was good fun. It was great. I didn't start doing my when did I start? I can't actually remember what year it was, but I got so I've had 3 scholarships for my PPL. And
wait. How many scholarships?
I had 3 for my PPL.
You were successful 3 times in getting scholarships.
Yeah, but not so I had 2 from the Air League, 1 from BWPA.
Okay, because there's people struggling to get just 1 scholarship.
Yeah, I know.
How do you get 3 scholarships? What is your secret?
Just I mean, I know obviously like 3 is like, I was tremendously lucky, and I'm incredibly grateful to have gotten those 3. I think just persistence. I got so many rejections as well. I can't tell you, like, I think I counted all of them once, actually, just for fun, just to humble myself for an evening. But yeah, there were a lot of rejections. I just had to keep going.
Give us a rough figure. How many rejections do you think you got?
Well, For the PPL scholarships, I would say probably like 10 at least, maybe across there was across a couple of years. Because I started when I got my first Air League scholarship, started working towards my PPL, and then I would apply, and then get the second. I got the second one, carried on, keep going, and then just keep applying for them all sort of periodically. But it took me longer to get my PPL because of that, and then I saved obviously whilst I was doing all of that. So I kind of my consistency wasn't great at times because of it, but because I was still working and stuff, and I was working at Draken at the time and doing my PPL at Bournemouth Airport as well. So it was quite convenient, and for me to carry on working full time whilst getting the PPL worked quite well for me. But yeah, I would say it's probably in that number. Yeah, some of them were just flat out no. Some of them I had got interviews and didn't get it after the interview. Some of them obviously written applications, I would have fallen down at that and failed at the written part as well. But each time you get rejected, you learn a bit more, and you start building up this kind of picture of what kind of skills are they really looking for, and how can I demonstrate to them, to this interviewer or to this person reading my application, how can I demonstrate to them that I am right for the scholarship, or that I'm going to put it to really, really good use.
So you get a couple of rejections. It's really easy to kind of pull away from it, because getting rejected, it feels terrible. It feels like it's a confirmation that you don't have what it takes. It feels like you're not good enough, and maybe you will never be, right? That's the kind of thought that can go through the mind. So what is it that kept you going back despite the rejections?
Do you know, I wish I could sit here and say, oh yeah, just pick yourself up and dust yourself off and get on with it. I really, really struggled to do that. So I'm not going to sit here and try and pretend that it's really easy to, like, when you get rejected from something, just get back in the saddle and just keep going. It is hard. And like, especially when in the, even post PPL or pre PPL, but if you're applying to the bigger programs, like the sponsored cadet programs as well, you invest a lot of time and energy and effort into the applications for those programs.
And money.
Yeah, 100%. And like, when it doesn't go your way, it is heartbreaking. Like, there's no sugarcoating that fact, unfortunately. But you've just got to say, okay, I'm going to ask for the feedback. I'm going to learn from it and just keep going. You've got to. I wish I could say like, oh no, well, you got to be positive, and you just keep going. Because it is hard and it sucks, and it's best to not dwell on that too much, but just kind of get the feedback and persevere and be resilient, because that is such a important trait to have. Obviously, that as well, like with getting your PPL, with pilot training as a whole, resilience is so important. And I think it's just one big resilience test. That's what I think.
Yeah. And sometimes I like to think about the story that I'll be able to tell further down the line, after going through challenge. Yeah. And I think sometimes it can be a bit of an attractive myth to think that people who have bounced back never really felt it. People who failed, like, oh yeah, they failed, but because we see the end point or end point that they got the scholarship in the end, right? Or they made it in the end, which there is no end until the ultimate end, but we see it as the end, and we're like, well, yeah, I know they got rejected, but it can't have felt as bad as I feel right now.
Yeah.
So I love what you're saying, that you do feel it. It is difficult. You do sometimes even get to a point of questioning, right? But that's all part of the journey. And sometimes I just like to breathe it in, just like literally just go, I hate how it feels, but I'm just gonna breathe it in. And it's like going on a bear hunt. You can't go over it, you can't go under it. You
Gotta go
just have
through
to
it.
go through it. That's
Yeah.
it.
You messaged me that once, actually.
Did I?
Yeah, during my ATPLs, and I was like, yeah, do you know, I was like, that is philosophical. He's right. He's right. I was like, do you know what? I'm actually just going to stop overthinking it now and just get on with it. I've just got to go through it. Like,
yeah.
But on, like, I was so beaten down at one point with applications for stuff. I literally recorded. I sat in front of this laptop and I recorded a video of myself. And I said, don't stop. If you don't get it this time, or whatever happens this year, whatever happens this month, week, whatever it may be, keep going. This is from past me to future me. I literally sat and recorded like a 30-second clip, and I was like, stop, this is not the time. You have to get up and you have to keep going. You have to ask for feedback, you have to learn, and you have to come back again and try again. Yeah, that's how bad it got for me.
That's real though. That is real. And one of the things I love about like everyone that I've had on so far this week is just our unique stories. But you can see like at some point you have to like not be casual about it. You have to like trick yourself. You have to come up with something that works for you. And for you, it was filming yourself and like message from to future you, like don't give up, like keep going. And for others, like Mo yesterday was showing that he's got such a detailed tracker that he has accountability. Like this is what I do every day, and that's what he needs for himself. And it's so important to do what you need to do for you to keep going, you know. So whatever resonates with you. And did that work? Did you watch that back and keep going? Or was it just the act of filming yourself that was powerful enough to sustain you? Because you knew in the back of your head, I've already filmed myself, so you know, I'll keep going.
I think actually I kind of like, I almost used it as like a tactic, because once I'd done it, I was like, I don't want to watch it because I'm going to be so sad watching it back. And I was like, I can't. So I think I watched it like quite recently, this little clip. But I didn't. I was like, no, I'm not even going to give myself a reason to watch it, because I've just got to keep it moving and just keep going. So, because I think if I had gone back and watched it, then I would have been at a real, like, okay, I'm really clutching here for some reasons and motivation to carry on. So I kind of was like, no, I didn't actually have to look back at it, but I did recently, and I was like, oh, that's like, yeah, it was like, it's nice to reflect obviously on like everything that's happened in the last year and stuff with my training and everything. But it's so important to look back and remember, okay, that was me actually not so long ago. And I still don't feel like I'm too different from that person in that video. And, you know, I think no matter what stage of training or your career or whatever you're at, it's important to look back and reflect, kind of like you were saying earlier, like everyone has been there at some point, and everyone's probably been some kind of version of me on that clip, you know, struggling to find reasons to carry on and to keep pursuing this career, and just to keep going when things are really tough, you know. Yeah, everyone's had a moment. I think I just chose to film mine and then basically use it as a guilt tactic.
Yeah, definitely. And we've all had moments. Oh yeah, I've definitely had my moments. That's for sure. Yeah, but it's part of the journey. It's what makes you and want to see. The support network you mentioned earlier comes in handy, because I know last year I had quite a tough moment. And what somebody who's further down the line can do is they can give you perspective, right? So, for example, because they've been through in some way, shape, or form, or they know somebody who's been through what you're probably going through, they can look at the same situation and go, oh, that I know it feels a bit tough, but you can get through it, and then just talk about it at your interview. And that's something that, you know, the interview panel are gonna, you know, really value hearing from you, that you bounce back from this. And suddenly you go from a situation of thinking, oh my goodness, like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna make it, to, this could be something I could talk about in my interview.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. It just gives you light at the end of the tunnel, which, if you've never been through it before, it's a little bit harder to see it. But when you have somebody who's been through and is further ahead, they can, it's kind of a little bit like, you know, once you get through your GCSEs, A levels, and your degree, looking at somebody who's going through their GCSEs, right? It's kind of like, no, you can get through it. Like, it's not the most like biggest thing in the world, and you don't have to have the perfect score either, the perfect grade. Like, just give it your best shot, learn from it, and keep trying to improve. That's all you can do. So I love that, the perspective that comes with somebody who's further down the line, which, yeah, is super valuable.
I think that just the network bit as a whole, like, is so important for that, just for giving, like, almost like a sense check for the, especially again for the really competitive programs, like, and scholarships and everything like that, and the pilot training piece in itself as well. If you're kind of doing that completely solo and you don't have anyone else to talk to about it, then it feels like you're carrying the weight of the world when you do, you know, you don't do very well on a trip, or you don't get the scholarship, or you get rejection from a job, or whatever it may be. If you don't have other people who can be like, oh, like, did you apply for this, or did you come across this problem, or did you have this challenge, or whatever it may be, it just can feel so isolating. And then, like, I think your self-doubt will just naturally be like, well, you know, it's just you that's going through this incredibly difficult period, or this, you know, this awful rejection that you'd pinned so much hope on. There's probably loads of other people who are in exactly the same position, or who have been in exactly the same position, and then, or
even worse positions in some cases.
100%, yeah. And then all of a sudden, actually, you know, that weight that you're carrying just is reduced so much. And I mean, that's true of life in general, not just aviation and you know, the pilot training pathway, but I think that career pathway in itself is such a, like I said earlier, such a resilience test, that it is so important to have that network, and those people who you can talk to and sort of, you know, compare stories and just make yourself feel like you're not the only one going through it. It's so important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as you talk, something else comes to mind, because I support a bunch of people through PPL training every year, and both like in the air pilots, but also outside through Future Pilot 901. And sometimes I've come across young people who, like, they basically see me as their friend. And I'm like, well, like, I'm not really your friend, because I think it's important for me, and I'd like to know your opinion on this. It's important. Okay, I'll give you an example. So I am currently working on a centenary film project for the air pilots. 2029 is going to be the centenary year, so they want to create some films. So I'm going around interviewing past masters. Now, when I meet them, I might call them by their first name, just because it's like, it's less awkward. We sit down, we're friendly. I interview them about their career, their achievements, but at no point do I think this is my friend, because I think if I put us on the same level, I then don't think, I'm not trying to learn from them. I might then even end up trying to give them advice about their, you know, what to do in aviation retirement, when I'm like, I've never been there. And I find that in this day and age with social media, there's a lot of like equalizing things, where then I think the downside of that, even though there's a positive side to that, the downside of that is that you then don't learn. So, for example, for me, I have people who tell me about their challenges and they go, yeah, so I should probably not apply, or I just don't think it's possible. And I'm like, why are you then coming to me for advice? Like, you know what I've been through, like sacrificed my comfort to get into aviation. When I look at your situation, I can't see the same thing you do. I can't look at your situation and go, yeah, I think you might as well pack it in. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I look at your situation and go, yeah, I know it's tough, but you can make it. And that has upset people sometimes. It's made them feel like, well, you're just not seeing my situation. And then it turns into a little bit of like a sticking point. So for me, I'm like, I kind of feel like they've made us friends. And so they're not ready to receive. So I think there's something to be said about humility when you do have that support network to actually take in what's being given to you and to value it, because you can choose not to value the experience that you have available to you. It's really easy. It's just a decision and go, I don't care what they think. And if you do that, you're not getting the benefit of that support network that you've built around you. What do you make of that?
I think there's a few bits to unpack there.
Yeah, please.
But I think, to be honest, I've been so like just really happy with like all the interactions I've had with a lot of people, and like, you know, I meet a lot of young girls and, well, women from all ages really, who come to the Elevate Her stands when we do career fairs, and I've had I went flying actually with a young girl who's 11 last week, and she's an aspiring pilot, and I took her for
what
a
an
flight.
experience. And
honestly, like, I've had really, really pleasant and like meaningful interactions with people. So I think maybe I've been lucky in that respect, but I do see your point, and I think you have to be so careful in a way to value and protect the connections you can make in the industry. I think that's the same for like any job or any walk of life really, but you know, I think in aviation, where it's quite small and it's quite niche in some ways, sharing that like interest in that sort of career path with someone is actually like a really special thing to have, and you should try and like cherish that and really take their advice and their encouragement, or like, you know, their guidance, and try and respect that and maintain that like connection, if that makes sense. And yeah, I think that is far more important than kind of getting bogged down into the reasons why you can't do something, why you can't achieve something, and just more like rephrase the mindset and the attitude, and just say, okay, well, what do you think? Like, how do you think I can sort of navigate this? Or do you have any advice? Or, you know, what's your opinion on X, Y, and Z, or how I could approach this differently? Because I think, like you said, learning from those connections and from your network is so important. And yeah, we're always all learning every day.
100.
Especially, you know, with flying, it's a constant, it's a license to learn.
And when you get advice, you don't have to apply it, right? It's like,
it's up to
you
you.
just get another perspective of how you could approach something, and you can bank it, you can use it, or you can say, do you know, I never thought about that. Well, thank you very much. And then, you know, it's not like they're going to follow you and check up that you follow the advice, because it's there to be taken or to be left, really.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know? And like, I think I say that because I quite a few people come and talk to me and offer advice, or they want sort of guidance on certain things, or they've got questions about certain things, and I'm really like more than happy to help and offer that, because so many people have done that for me. So who on earth would I be to say, no, I'm not helping you, or no, I don't want to offer any? No, I would never do that. Like, if someone wants to come and talk to me or they want some advice about something, I'm always more than happy to offer that. But I always preface it with, this is just my opinion. And this is just maybe drawing on my own experience. This is what I have done. It's totally up to you if you want to listen, if you want to take another route, or if you want to do anything with that advice. That is totally up to you. But this is my perspective. This is my opinion. This is what I did. Everyone's different, you know? So
100%. 100%. The old person's official, shout out to you, but you are late for class, my friend. You are late for class. But shout out to you. Thank you. Okay, I hope you're having a good time enjoying the streams this week. And we've got Mr. Daniel Oriaki, who is going to be on tomorrow. Shout out to our mod on the channel doing backflip. I actually saw this guy doing a backflip. Yeah. Crazy stuff. A pilot doing a backflip.
is that a backflip in the picture?
I think it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
And he posted a video probably a couple of weeks ago on his page doing a backflip. So shout out to Daniel. Looking forward to having you tomorrow. Or did I just leak that information? Well, there you go. There you go. I just leaked it. So Daniel's going to be on and somebody else is going to be on. I'll tell you at the end of the stream. I'll tell you at the end of the stream. Right. If you've not caught up with the latest series on the Future Pilot 901 page, well, you know, you got some free time this weekend. I won't be streaming. Actually, tell a lie. I'm going to be streaming Sunday evening. But you got plenty of time to start catching up, all right? I've got the Fly to Dance series. If you've never checked it out, check it out. I've always loved flying.
Hello. Ultra radar. Come on. Well done.
And dancing, there's no denying. If only I could blend the two. I know what I'll do. I'll fly to new places, to dance with new faces, making the most of the wings a private pilot license brings.
That was a little bit gusty.
Just made a no-fly decision.
Sport constituency, 3-course shore.
A different way to our build and advance.
2-0, during downwind.
I call it Fly to Dance.
4 flaps.
Ooh, nice one.
Flaps come up. Whoa, flight, bro.
Foxtrot Sierra, welcome to shore.
We have everything in this flight, man.
Everything, bro.
Yes, that is the Fly to Dance series on the Future Pilot 901 YouTube page. If you're on Kick, make sure you hit that follow button. If you are on YouTube, hit that subscribe, turn on the notification so you don't miss the rest of the week's streams, and so you don't miss future videos. By the way, Chris, the guy in the video, Chris is missing. So I don't know what happened to Chris. I have no idea. So if anybody out there has information on Chris, please let me know. But he's disappeared a little bit. I might even put a missing person's post on Instagram if I don't hear from Chris very soon. But yeah, I haven't seen Chris for a little while. I hope you are good, brother. Lily, what do you do outside of aviation? Since I brought up salsa, might as well. Like, what do you have any interests, any passions outside of aviation?
Oh, do you know what? I'm a pretty straightforward girl, to be honest. I like to read. I like to go to the gym. I like to see my family and my friends. I've got a golden retriever who is about 1.5 now. So I like to go out on some nice dog walks and stuff. He is mental, so he requires quite a lot of attention. Crazy dog. Yeah, I think at the moment, like, because I'm working full-time and doing the MEIR as well and my single engine outbuilding as well, I don't really have like much time left when the week is done for the like I've really neglected like going to the gym this year. Well, let's say this year, it's 2026, but last year I've really neglected it massively. So, but I'm just trusting that once all the training is kind of done and this really busy period is out of the way, obviously I've got the rest of my life to go to the gym really, but this is like such a special time and I really want to soak it all up. So yeah, those are kind of the main things I do outside of aviation / work. Yeah, I'm not a talented salsa dancer, unfortunately. I wish I was.
Well, only
talk about.
Only takes attending classes. Have you ever done any type of dance?
Yeah, I did used to do some dance when I was much younger. When I was little, I think I did like a mix of. I think you kind of just got to try a little bit of everything and then see what sticks. Do a bit of tap, bit of ballet, all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, I didn't really do any kind of extracurriculars or any like things outside of school really growing up. And then once I joined the University Air Squadron, there were loads of opportunities to do that. So I just literally I was doing all kinds of stuff that I just never ever would have done growing up. I was like, I'll go on that ski trip. Yeah, I'll go mountaineering. Yeah, I'll go sailing. And I got one opportunity I did get, which was incredible, was I got to do a sailing trip across the Atlantic Ocean.
Nice. What was that like?
It was one of the best things I've ever done in my life.
Scary?
Cool. For the most part, no. We did get some really bad weather on like week. So it took like nearly a month, I want to say, to like a month on the boat ish. And we had some really bad weather towards the end of the crossing. But the weather had been really nice up until that point. It was just we did get a really bad storm on the last week, which kind of took us on a bit of a detour to more towards the south, and then we had to make our track back up. But it was amazing. It was so great. I would do it again tomorrow if I could, to be honest.
Nice.
Yeah, I would love to finish I started doing my day skipper qualification.
What's that?
Day skipper, which is like it's to be a skipper of like a sailing boat, basically. So I started doing that after that trip, and I never finished it. But I think now, obviously, now would definitely not be the right time. But I would love to finish that at some point, like maybe in the next like 5-10 years. I'd love to do that. So I do love it. It's great.
Nice. And on the aviation side, how many hours are you into your journey?
I might have to do some maths to calculate that. So I've got 84 hours pilot and command now. Nice. So I've not got much hour building left to do, really. Only got a small bit. So I think I'm gonna reserve a few hours at the end of our building, just to keep them for the CPL, to practice like CPL routes and stuff, and just make sure that I'm happy with everything. Then if I want to use those hours to go and practice some stuff, then I can. So 84 hours pilot and command, and then I think my PPL, I'd have to go back and check my logbook. I probably got like maybe like 47, maybe in between 47-50 joule, I think. But I've just done my MEP now as well. So done the 5-6 hours in the twin in the DA42, and that's all dual too. So obviously I'd add that onto my PPL dual total. But yeah, that's kind of what I've done so far.
Nice. Yeah, I look forward to adding some of those, but yeah, at the moment.
Yeah, I was going to say I would get the calculator out, but it feels a little bit late in the day to be doing that, to be honest. But
for some reason, like I asked Pre the same question, and she was like, "Yeah, I don't know, maybe about 300 hours. I don't know." And I was just like, "I don't know." For me, particularly in the early days, I knew exactly how many hours I had. So, have you always been like this in terms of knowing your hours, or have you got to the point now where you've got like quite a few hours and you're just focused on doing what you're doing?
I'm meticulous with the PIC hours because I know that I
Right.
need to hit 100 for my CPL. So I have been with those for the
Mm,
PPL. Like with the dual hours, I think I'm just kind of the mindset of like I'll do as much dual as it takes to,
mm,
until I'm happy with the concepts, or like I'm at the standard and feeling confident and competent and stuff like that. So probably haven't tracked those as much. But I was surprised when I looked back, like when I finished my PPL, I was surprised. Like I thought I was going to need more dual, to be honest.
mm.
But yeah, I think I just had fantastic instructors. I was super lucky, and yeah, and I really enjoyed getting the PPL as well. It was so fun. Like there was no part of it that was a chore really for me. I had the best time, and I was really sad when it was over. And I was thinking,
Mm.
okay, what am I going to do now? I got to keep this license going and figure out what's next. But yeah, the PIC hours, definitely tracked those a lot more closely. I did make a little video actually and post on my Instagram when I did 100 hours total time.
Mm.
That was like a few months ago now, around sort of summertime.
Mm.
But yeah, it's been quite slow for my hour building over the last like month, I want to say, because obviously the weather was not great, but we had
Yeah.
really good weather over Christmas. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to jump on that. So I did quite a few hours last week. Obviously, I did that trip with that 11-year-old girl, which was great fun. Super special. She made me. I'll show you this. Actually, it's really nice.
Yeah, go on.
She made me this card.
Oh, that's really cool. Stay there 1 second. I'm gonna flip your screen just because we can't.
Oh, what? So yeah.
Yeah, so we can read it. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's cute.
nice.
That's a Falcon. That's the jets that we've got at Draken at Bournemouth Airport.
Ah,
yeah,
nice,
we had a great time. It was really fun, really good. But yeah, how many hours? So you said earlier are you 100 hours yet, or are you?
Yeah, so I clocked 100 hours last year. And by the way, if you're interested in finding out what my last year was like in aviation, I released a video on the 1st of Jan, a review of 2025. So check that out to see basically a summary of everything I did last year when it came to flying. But yeah, now I'm on about 122 total.
Wow.
Yeah, so I hit 100 for Mother's Day. I took my aunt up for Mother's Day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so yeah, she's a mother figure in my life. So I treated her to our first flight together, and that was my 100th hour flight as well.
Oh, that's so special.
Yeah,
that's really nice.
yeah.
I took my mum for a flight earlier last year. I keep doing that. I keep getting mixed up between 2025, 26.
Yeah. It's a bit like that at the beginning, isn't it?
Yeah, but no, I took my mum up sort of early last year, and she loved it. It was great. I kind of didn't really give her like much time to think about it. She like drove down from London and turned up in Bournemouth. And she was like, oh, okay, so like what's the plan? What are we doing today? And I was like, well, leave your coat on because we're getting in the car. And she was like, oh, where are we going? I was like, oh, we're just going to the airport. Oh, well, why are we going there? I was like, well, I'm going to take you flying. And she was like, oh no, like I just didn't even want her to have time to overthink it because I feel like she would have talked herself out of it.
Right.
And I knew that she would love it. So I was like, and it's so like special for us as well. Like after this journey of ups and downs, she has literally been by my side through every single part of it. So I really, really wanted her to come for a flight and see it all come together. So yeah, I just sort of bundled her in the car And we got there, and she was like, "Oh yeah, okay, let's do it. I'm ready." And yeah, off we went, and we went and did a Lily long haul around the Needles.
Wait, what's happening to my internet? What's happening to my? Can you hear me properly?
I can hear you, but your camera looks a bit.
Yeah, it's got a bit funny. Let me see. Well, mic check 1 2 1 2. Am I any better? Hey.
Your mic's fine. Your video's a bit.
It's just the video. Okay, fair. Hopefully it fixes itself in just a jiff. Shout out to Ayub. I see you in the chat. Ayub, one of our mods. Shout out to you. Thank you very much for passing by. Yeah, you're late, but don't worry. I don't think you've missed. We've not missed the best part. We're just about to go into the best part as we wind down the conversation. This is Lily. Lily is an airworthiness engineer, and she's also a trainee commercial pilot. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Did I get that right? Cool. Thank you. Yeah, it's so hard to hold everyone's like titles and that in mind, but I am doing my best. Yeah. So check it out, Ayub. Make sure you go back and rewatch the stream, because we've been discussing Lily's journey in aviation so far. So yeah, a lot of things to pick up from there, and a lot of things I think you will find interesting and useful. Right. Let's get to the meat of the topic. Let's talk a little bit about creating. Shout out to you. Thank you, man. Thank you. Ayub's always catching up on the streams. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. And you guys look like you're doing a great job in Morocco hosting the AFCON. Unfortunately, Congo has been knocked out of the AFCON yesterday. But you guys look like you're doing a great job out there in Morocco. So shout out to you, and shout out to Morocco. Ayub is one of our faithful that joins the stream, and he's one of our mods. He joins from Morocco, so shout out to him.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's talk about creating your own opportunity. What does that mean to you?
I think just asking questions, maybe sometimes over and over again, just to keep trying to learn and maybe see what the art of the possible is, really.
And have you found that you've had to, along your journey, coming from the background you come from, being with your mum, aviation kind of seeming like a distant dream, did you feel like you had to, in a way, create your own opportunities, meaning that you had to kind of bring elements together where maybe it wasn't necessarily conventional? Did you find that you had to be adaptable in a way?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important to question some of the information or some of the answers you get. If it's a no right now, that doesn't mean it's a no forever. It could be a yes in a year's time, but it's important to just keep asking questions, keep learning. And I think that was definitely true for me. Again, I think I sort of did that in a roundabout way, like what I was talking about earlier with the whole coming across the price tag of commercial pilot training and everything. That was overwhelming, and then I had to think, okay, well, how else could I potentially do this? And then obviously found a route in with the University Air Squadron, and then okay, I've got to get my PPL now. How am I going to do that? Because I'm still not really sure how I'm going to finance that. Okay, well, I'm going to find the scholarships, and luckily found the Air League and stuff. And then the Air League, I think, was the biggest kind of I guess, junction where the door really got opened for me, because there were so many other organizations that existed that and people just like me as well, like at a similar stage of their training to me, that I didn't know existed until I started with the Air League and became a member with them. So all this stuff that was not available all those years ago, through asking questions and kind of showing up and just being really curious and interested in aviation, those opportunities, they just sort of kind of happened. Just, I think, perseverance, really.
And so for what, because you come across, you know, young people, you went on this flight with an 11-year-old, exposing her to aviation, which I think is absolutely beautiful. I think, like, there's no way she's going through her life and forgetting that moment. It's just incredible. So you see a lot of people who are kind of earlier on in their journey. What do you advise somebody who, or for whom, aviation seems really distant because of the finances? Like, how can they create their own opportunities? How can they kind of bring this, or at least start to bring this dream together from something that really seems like unachievable?
So I think the first thing I would advise, and again, I think in some ways it's probably the hardest bit, because I didn't know that it existed really at all, but getting in some memberships with some of these organizations that we've talked about on this stream, you know, places like the Air League, HCAP, Elevate Her, BWPA, all of these organizations, they do such fantastic work and provide such great resources as well. So I would say using that as a sort of springboard is really, really helpful, because you'll learn so much through other members and like other people that you'll meet at events and stuff with those organizations. That will be a massive, massive help. And then I think the other thing that I've come across is people that there's so many opinions out there, and it's really hard to, I'm not saying to ignore, but you have to choose whose opinion you're going to listen to and whose words are going to resonate with you, and which of those opinions and those bits of advice you get are you actually going to action and listen to. And I think that can be tricky, especially when you're in those first stages of expressing your interest in becoming a pilot. People, I have certainly felt, and maybe you have as well, I'd love to know your opinion, but I think people are very quick to give an opinion on why that's not going to happen for you. Oh, but that's going to be too tricky because of X, Y, and Z. And you know, I once wanted to do that as well, and it's not worked out for me. So you know, it might not work out for you. And fair points, fair enough, but you sort of have to choose which of those you're gonna listen into and really let them sink in, and which actually you have to say, okay, that's their opinion, that's their perspective, but I think maybe I need to get a different point of view, or you know, maybe I'm actually not going to take what they've said to heart, and I'm going to move on, I'm going to push on, I'm going to apply for the scholarship anyway, I'm going to go and get my trial lesson done anyway. I think that can be really hard, and I think actually I will just round off by saying, because I'm waffling a bit, but a lot of the hardest bit, I think, is actually just starting, like doing the trial lesson, or, you know, applying for the scholarship and putting yourself out there, or going to an event, like these events that get run by these organizations, putting yourself out there and in those rooms or in those spaces where you feel uncomfortable, you don't feel like you're good enough. That's really hard. And I think doing that for the first time is really tough. So trying to push forward through that with all the opinions that may or may not be circulating around in your head as well, it's tricky. So, but yeah, what's your kind of view on, like, have people kind of expressed many opinions or tried to offer you some advice along the way?
Yeah, people have, and thankfully along, you know, particularly when I was getting started on my PPL, a lot of it was useful, was applicable to me. I think the longer I've been in aviation, the more I've come across people who have more diverging opinions. And one thing I usually say is, you have to pay attention to who's speaking, right? If somebody has failed to get scholarships 5 times and they're bitter over that, then that's going to affect the advice they give you. If somebody has failed 5 scholarships, applied for the 6th time and got it, that's going to affect the advice they give you. So it's always important to keep in context who's speaking when you're hearing advice. And if you want results that are similar to them, and you value what they, where they've got to, then go with it. But I love what you're saying. You will have sometimes conflicting opinions, and it's down to you to make the decision as to which path you're going to take, and then go for it and learn from it. Because every decision you make, and sometimes people hold back from making decisions because they think, oh, what if I make a bad decision? And from my point of view, every decision will have its pros and its cons. And that doesn't make it a bad decision just because it has downsides, right? Everything is trade-offs. So sometimes, you make the decision and then you just learn from it. Okay, it was really good for this and it wasn't so good for that. All right, maybe I'll make a different decision next time. And that's absolutely okay. So I think that's really important, to pay attention to who's speaking when you're processing the advice that they give you. I think also sometimes we overlook what we have. So, for example, do you know Pre?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so she was talking about doing nails and cakes for weddings, and henna and art when she was younger, and having that auctioned off. So those are all the things that she could do, and that might be different for you. For me, it was teaching dance, so that was extra money to go to flying. Then it's also filmmaking. That's extra, like another asset that I could use. So when I went to my PPL scholarship, I squeezed it in. I was like, oh, by the way, I've got videos of my lessons. Like I've not just spoken about it. Would you like to see me in action? And thankfully, one of the panelists was like, this was at the end of the interview. I'd spoken so long, they had to move on. But one of them said, you know what, send it to the office, we'll have a look. And then I was successful. I got my scholarship. As soon as I finished and got did my skills test, the next conversation was, could you help us with some videos? And I was like, of course, duh, absolutely. But you want to make yourself, as much of an asset. And a lot of the time, sometimes we look down on some of the different things or skills that we have, and actually they could make you more of an asset and open doors that you may not have imagined. And so now, only a couple of years in, I'm then in a position where I'm doing these projects, meeting all these people. I don't know, have you watched I don't expect that you have, by the way. Have you seen my 2025 review?
I did, yeah. I watched it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Shout out to you. Let's go. Much. I appreciate that.
You posted it on IG, right? Did you post it on IG? I watched it.
I post maybe I'll post a link on IG. I don't know, but it was on YouTube. It's on YouTube. One of the stories I talk about on there is the story of me reading this book during lockdown, the PPL book, and reading about Dorothy Solpuli. And then in 2025, I was interviewing Dorothy Solpuli. And I've totally forgotten her name. I just didn't connect the two people. And as I was mid-interview, I got teary because I was like, oh crap. When I was in my car reading the PPL book, thinking this was all a distant dream, and I read, because I wanted to read everything. Like, I'd never studied like I studied for PPLs, like, because it was the first time like I'm fully into something. So I was like, I'm going to devour every page of this. So I read about the editor, the author, everything. And I remember reading Dorothy Sopuli. I was like, okay, cool. That just went in the back of my head. And here I was speaking to her, and I was like, this is the same person. Like, wow. Like, however many years, 5 years later, here I am, full circle moment.
Yeah, that is full circle. I was just about to say that.
And I'm in that moment, you know, especially because when I started my PPL journey, I decided to film my lessons, which then made me take filmmaking more seriously, which then, when I got the scholarship, I started doing promo videos, which then opened the door for me to meet these people. And again, building more of that support network again is where it's at. So now I've been very grateful. So I think for people who kind of feel like aviation is a bit more distant, just use everything that you have, you know, use all the skills that you have and let it make you stand out. Because when you stand out for a particular thing, then people want to come to you for that. And then when people come to you for that, you make more connections. You make more connections, there's more possibilities that open up to you, right? And then you make the decision of which path you want to take.
No, so true.
Dan, no two paths will be the same. Your character and attitude is the most important, says Daniel. Very true. Agreed. Ayub says, I saw late, but I did. Great editing, like always, and storytelling. Thank you, Ayub. Thank you for watching the review. Appreciate you. Daniel said, telling students not to record their first solo because it's oh, wait. There must have been a previous one. Wait. Okay, there's a few interesting comments here. Wait. There's a whole chat going on in the chat whilst we're chatting. Can you see the chat, Lily?
Yeah, I'm just reading it now.
There's a whole.
Sorry, guys. I didn't even see any of this.
Let's see. Unsolicited relationship advice and how you can't. No, that it started before that. Let me see. Wait, unsolicited relationship advice and how you can't manage relationships with pilot training. Advice telling students that modular training is more expensive than integrated training. I'm not sure I make sense of this.
I think because we were talking about some of the like advice and kind of running commentary that happens during your training, or like when you talk about aspiring to be a pilot and stuff. And actually, like, it is valid. Like, it just a lot of the I've had like all kinds of like some comments, obviously, like you don't remember them, but I'm sure some people have said like, oh yeah, well, you know, being in a relationship when you're a pilot, that's tough, isn't it? And, you know, having children and stuff. And I just think, can we not put these barriers like in place unnecessarily? Really? I don't know if that's true or not, because I'm not a professional pilot yet. I'm not fully qualified, but you know, people do love to to remind you that it's going to have a lot of impacts on your life. And again, they may well be valid, but I guess that's for me to find out eventually, I hope.
And the truth is, you know, whatever you do, there's an element of risk in it. Whatever you do, there's an element of tough. Like, it's going to be tough somehow. So you don't get to choose whether or not you're going to have a challenge. You get to choose what challenge you're going to have.
Oh, I like that. That's nice.
Yeah. And so if you're fulfilled being a pilot and that's the challenge you'd like to take on, how do I build my life whilst also being a pilot? Then why not take on that challenge? You know, and if your challenge is something else, then take that one because it's meaningful to you. The worst thing you could do is, you know, spend your life doing something that isn't fully fulfilling you, you know?
Yeah, so true.
So yeah, absolutely. But Daniel, bring some of that heat tomorrow, okay? I want to hear what you got to say about, you know, this countless advice that people are giving you along your journey. I definitely want to know.
Yeah, I'm
your
gonna have to
story.
join. I need to know what's been said.
Yeah, and
Like,
since we're coming towards the end as well, I will tell you who will be joining me for tomorrow. In fact, I will show you, because he's been on the channel before, not on the live though, but he's been on the channel before. And if you want to prep for that stream by watching, then you can do that too. This is the video that he's featured in. Let me see. Bosch. I filmed his 1000th hour flight.
I'll walk up behind the aircraft.
You're very behind the aircraft.
We've got a fuel leak. Yeah.
We did a missed approach.
Yes. So check this out. I'll just give you a little intro into him.
Like London City, you know, like everything is basically beginning. Let's go get the aircraft ready.
This is Keno, a flight instructor on the cusp of a very special landmark achievement.
Yes, we're going to have Keno on the channel. Keno is going to be joining us along with Daniel. So we are looking forward to that. Yeah, Keno is incredibly knowledgeable. He's like sat me down for like a 3-hour seminar out of the blue, just because he wanted to share information with me, and I had to literally take notes. And yeah, that like he's got a lot of information. So aspiring pilots, people who are newly qualified, he's a flight instructor, and yeah, you can get a lot out of him. So definitely bring your questions tomorrow. Okay, bring your questions tomorrow. If you haven't seen that, Ayub, you need to check it out. Okay, I will drop the link in the chat, or you can just search 1000 flying hours future pilot 901. Okay, and he's instructing on that lesson. And I didn't know it was his 1000th hour flight until the end. I only had a Samsung S9, and I managed to make a video out of that. So I thought that was like pulling a rabbit out of the hat, really. But I'm grateful for how it came out. So I'm looking forward to the conversation with him. Lily, thank you so much for joining me. Is there anything you wanted to mention or talk about that you felt we didn't say or talk about, or anything along those lines?
I feel like we covered a lot, to be fair. I definitely waffled. So I'm sorry for anyone who's had to listen to that. But no, I think it's been such a pleasure to be here and to chat with you and to catch up and stuff as well. It's been really nice. And yeah, I guess my only sort of thing I would end on is if anyone has any questions about training or anything they want to ask me, you can get me on my Instagram, which is @flylils. Shameless plug here. But yeah, please do drop me a message if there's anything you want to ask me, or anything you want to chat about, any kind of advice for scholarships, sponsorships, anything like that. I'm more than happy to help. And yeah, just thank you so much. It's been really great. Oh, wow, look at this.
I might not be Joe Rogan, I might not have Jamie, but we make it happen on this channel. That's
You've pulled out all the stops, and I am so impressed. I really am. I even got an intro video. So
Let's go.
it's great.
Yes. All right, people. Well, it's time to wrap it up. You know, we work full-time jobs. So I don't know about you, but it's about time for me to go to sleep. Is
This
what
day
it
has
is.
felt really, really long, but this has been the best bit of the day for sure.
No, I've appreciated it, and I think there's a lot that you could take away, particularly in our conversation about just dealing with challenges and overcoming failure and persistence and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you've only just tuned in, sorry, but you can rewind because it's going to be available on YouTube, and Kick deletes the streams after a month. So if you're on Kick, I'd suggest watch it in time, or else get yourself on the YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications so you don't miss anything. If you're on Kick, hit that follow button and you will be notified whenever I am live. The next stream is going to be tomorrow because we're starting off the year with a bang. Yes, we are. You know, because we're just, I had that thought that I wanted to...
Let me add a little bit of spice to that.
Yeah, added a little bit of spice to that. Do you know who that is speaking, Lily?
It's the boxer.
Yes.
Chris
Eubank.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever seen him speak at interviews? He's so hilarious.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Very well spoken. Very well spoken.
And he says ridiculous things sometimes, which is like in the most poetic way, and it's just brilliant. It's great. I love him.
I've heard that clip a lot, to be fair. It's great.
Yeah. It's a bit of a meme, isn't it? It's a bit of a meme.
Add a little bit of spice to a lot in life.
Yeah, exactly. Very true. So yes, more guests, more conversations. Tomorrow is going to be the last stream for the week. Just so you know, I will not be streaming on Monday 7 p.m. as usual. I will be streaming on Sunday instead at 7 p.m. because I'm working Monday evening. So it's going to be a Sunday 7 p.m. stream. I'm going to be letting you know about some changes because I like to switch things up every now and then. So because my attention is going to be fully on assessment prep, I want to make sure that I'm tailoring everything for that. So if you want to find out about the changes to the show, tune in Sunday, 7 p.m. UTC. No show on Monday, 7 p.m. But we will be back tomorrow, 7:15 UTC. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for being here, Lily. Really appreciate your time. All that's left for me to say is until next time. My name is D. This is Future Pilot 901, and I'm reminding you to live your dreams. Peace.
Being able to fly is an absolute privilege and it means so much to me, and there isn't a second in the air that I ever take it for granted. The thing I've had to trust the most is the timing actually, and knowing that every rejection and redirection is what's led me to where I am now.
Position after departure, clear to leave the zone. Fly Hagen 3 head VFR, on about altitude 2000, runway 26 left turn out, surface wind 250 degrees, 4 knots, clear for takeoff. We can take to the left turn out, clear for takeoff.
always been a constant in my life, and for me it was just about figuring out how to unlock the career path to becoming a pilot.
Ever since I was a kid, I had a dream of becoming a pilot, but could never afford it. One day I decided to stop making excuses, to sacrifice my comfort, to make my dream happen. My name is Dee, and this is my journey. This is Future Pilot 901.